Hey guys, Mr. Backwork here. In this video, we're going to focus on solving a system of linear equations using elimination, where we also have to do a little bit of multiplying. So when we're looking at doing elimination with multiplication, here are the steps we're going to follow. So step number 1 says that we're going to multiply to get the equations to have opposite numbers in front of one of the variables. Now, depending on what your system of equations looks like, this might involve just multiplying one of the equations by some number, or it might involve multiplying both of the equations by some number in order to get those opposite numbers in front of one of the variables. Then what we're going to do is we're going to add those two equations together, and then that should allow us to cancel out one of the variables, and then we'll be able to go through and solve to find a number answer for the other variable. And then, last step, we're going to take that answer that we just got from step number 2 and plug it back into one of the equations to then go through and solve for our other variable. So in this first example, we've got the equations 6x plus 5y equals 19, and we've also got 2x plus 3y equals 5. Step number 1 says that we want to look at the equations that we've got and do some multiplying that's going to help us get opposite numbers in front of one of the variables. So the first thing we're going to look at is what we've got happening with our variables. And if we look at the x's, we've got 6x in the top equation, and we've got 2x in the bottom equation. And if we think about multiplying, there is a way that we could multiply 2 to turn into 6. Now, if we look at the y variables, we've got 5y in the first equation and 3y in the second equation. There's not a very easy way to take 3 and multiply it by some number and turn it into 5. So I'm thinking because of that, we should work with the x variables and try to get opposite numbers in front of those x variables. Now, what we're going to do is we're actually going to leave the 6x alone. There's an easy way for us to turn a 2 into a 6, so we're not going to change the top equation at all. We're going to leave that one as 6x plus 5y equals 19. But we're going to look at this second equation, and we want to have opposite numbers in front of the x's in this case. So, because our top equation has a 6 in front of that x, we want to end up with a negative 6 in front of the x. So we need to think about what would we multiply by 2 in order to get negative 6 as our answer. And the thing that we have to multiply by is negative 3. Now we need to treat this like the distributive property and multiply everything in this equation by that negative 3. So when we take the negative 3 times the 2x, we get the negative 6x that we were looking for. Then we have to take the negative 3 times the positive 3y, and that's going to give me negative 9y. But then we also have to take the negative 3 and multiply it over to the 5. So that's going to equal negative 15. Now that we've got those opposite numbers in front of our x variables, when we add these equations together, the 6x and the negative 6x are going to cancel each other out. The 5y and the negative 9y, when we add those together, that's going to give us negative 4y. And when we take the 19 and add negative 15, that's going to give us 4. So we get negative 4y equals 4. We do want to get rid of the negative 4 that's in front of the y. Negative 4y really means negative 4 times y. So to get rid of that multiplication, we're going to divide both sides of our equation by negative 4. So when we do that, we should get y equals negative 1. Now when we're solving a system, we're building an ordered pair as our answer, and we just said that the y value was negative 1. Now we need to take that y value answer that we just got and go back up to one of our equations, plug in that y value, so then we can find our x value answer. I think it's going to be easiest to work with this bottom equation here since it has the smallest numbers in it. So we're plugging in that negative 1 for the y value. We're going to get 2x plus 3 times negative 1 equals 5. Well, 3 times negative 1 is negative 3, so this is going to say 2x minus 3 equals 5. To get rid of that minus 3, we're going to have to add 3 on both sides of our equation. So then we're going to have 2x equals 8. And we still need to get rid of the 2 in front of the x. 2x means 2 times x, so we're going to have to divide everything in here by 2. So that should leave us with x equals 4. So as far as our ordered pair goes, the x value in here is 4. So the final answer for this system of equations is the point 4, -1. As we take a look at our next example, we've got 2x plus 5y equals 3, and 3x plus 10y equals -3. So again, we're going to look at the variables first. As far as the x's go, we've got 2x and 3x. Now there's not really a nice way to take 2x and multiply it by something to get 3 as your answer. So now if we look at the y's, we've got 5y and we've got 10y. There will be a nice way for us to multiply something by 5 and end up getting 10 as our answer. So here's what we're going to do. We're going to leave the 3x plus 10y equals -3 equation. We're going to leave that one alone. But we are going to do some work with this top equation, that 2x plus 5y equals 3. Now we're going to work with the y variable this time. So right now we have 5y. We want to end up having opposite numbers in front of our variable. So because our other equation has 10y in front of it, we want to get -10y in front of there. So thinking about what we would need to multiply by the 5 in order to get -10 as our answer, we're going to multiply everything in here by -2. And again, we're going to think about it like the distributive property. So -2 times 2x is going to be -4x. -2 times 5y is going to give us the -10y that we wanted. And then -2 times this +3, that's going to equal -6. Now when we add these equations together, 3x plus -4x, that's going to give me -1x. 10y plus -y, those are opposites, so those are going to cancel each other out. And when we take -3 and add -6, that's going to equal -9. So we have the equation -1x equals -9. We do want to get rid of the -1 that's attached to the x, so I'm going to divide everything in here by -1 to get that to cancel out. So we should get x equals 9. Now we're building an ordered pair for our answer. We just said that the x value was 9, but we still need to go through and figure out what the y value is going to be. So we're going to look at our equations, and we're going to take this x value of 9 and plug it back into one of these equations to help us solve to find the y value. I'm going to use the top equation this time because it has smaller numbers in it. So we're plugging in the 9 for our x. So we're going to get 2 times 9 plus 5y equals 3. Well, 2 times 9 is 18, and then we have our plus 5y, and this is equal to 3. I want to take that 18 and move it over to the other side. It's a positive 18, so we're going to have to subtract 18 on both sides, and that's going to leave me with 5y equals -15. We still need to get rid of the 5 in front of the y. 5y really means 5 times y, so to get rid of that multiplication, we're going to divide everything in here by 5, and that should leave us with a y value of -3. So I'm going to go back up to my ordered pair. The y value is -3. So the solution to this system of equations is the point 9, -3. As we take a look at our next example, we've got the equations 4x plus 5y equals 35 and -3x plus 2y equals -9. We're going to check out the variables. If we look at the x's, we've got 4x and -3x. There's not really a nice way to take 3 and multiply it by something in order to get 4 as our answer. So let's check out the y's. We've got 5y and 2y, and there's not really a nice way to multiply 2 and end up getting 5 as our answer. So this is actually going to be a case where we need to multiply both of the equations by something in order to get opposite numbers in front of one of our variables. So the very first thing that we have to do is decide what variable we want to try to eliminate. And for this one, let's do the x's. So we're looking at 4x and -3x. I already see that they have opposite signs in front of them. The first one is a positive 4x, and the other one is a -3x. So we have opposite signs, but they're not opposite numbers. So we're going to do some multiplying with both of these equations to work towards those opposite numbers. So what I want to think about is I'm going to look at the numbers that are already here with the 4 and the 3. And if we were to multiply 4 and 3 together, we would end up getting 12. So I want to work towards getting 12 12x in my top equation, and I want to work towards getting negative 12x in my bottom equation so that we have those opposite numbers in front of them. So if we're looking at the 4x and trying to turn that into 12x, we're thinking, well, what do we have to multiply 4x by in order to get 12x? And the answer is 3. So we're going to take this 3 and distribute it through here. So 3 times 4x is 12x. 3 times 5y gives me plus 15y. And 3 times 35 is going to give me 105. Now we still need to do our multiplying with this second equation. And again, we're trying to get to negative 12x in the front. So as we're looking at this negative 3x, we're going to have to multiply by 4. So 4 times negative 3x gives us the negative 12x that we wanted. 4 times 2y is going to give me plus 8y. And 4 times negative 9 is going to give me negative 36. Now when we add these together, because of the 12x and the negative 12x, those are going to cancel each other out. The 15y plus 8y, that's going to be 23y. And lastly, when we take 105 and add negative 36, that's going to give us 69 as an answer. Now we do want to get our y alone, so we have to get rid of that 23 that's in front of the y. So I'm going to divide everything in here by 23, and that should leave me with y equals 3 as our answer there. We're building an ordered pair. We don't quite know what the x value is yet, but we just figured out that the y value is 3. Now what we need to do is take that y value that we just got and go back through one of our equations, plug in that y value so that we can solve to get our x value. I'm going to use the bottom equation because it's got smaller numbers in it. So we've got negative 3x plus 2 times, fill in the 3 for the y value, and that's supposed to equal negative 9. Well, 2 times 3 is 6, so we get negative 3x plus 6 equals negative 9. I want to get rid of this plus 6, and in order to do that, we're going to have to subtract 6 on both sides of our equation. So that's going to leave me with negative 3x equals negative 15. We do want to get rid of the negative 3 in front of the x. Negative 3x really means negative 3 times x. So to get rid of that multiplication, we're going to divide everything in here by negative 3. And that should leave me with an x value answer of 5. So I'm going to go back up to my ordered pair. The x value is 5. So the final answer for this system of equations is the point 5, 3. That's going to be it for this video. Thanks for watching.